Sponsored by Novartis.
KIOI San Francisco. This is Star 101.3's Community 101.
Welcome to the Bay Area Focus, our weekly public affairs program from iHeartRadio San Francisco, highlighting issues and organizations working to improve our communities. I'm your host, Tinka. The guests will introduce themselves and the organization that they are with. Welcome.
Hi, Tinka. Thank you for having me. My name is David Herrera, and I am the founder, artistic director, and choreographer of David Herrera Performance Company in San Francisco.
David Herrera Production Company. So tell us a little bit about the company.
Yes, David Herrera Performance Company.
Okay, David Herrera Performance Company. So you doing stuff.
Yes.
You doing stuff.
Yes.
Tell us about the company.
Okay, yes. So the company, we're 16 years old. We celebrated our 16th year this year.
Great.
And the company started here, was birthed here in San Francisco. When I moved to San Francisco back in 2005, I came with knowing that I wanted to start a professional contemporary modern dance company.
Wow.
But I wanted to do something slightly different. Growing up, and then also as I moved into the professional dance field, what I was noticing was that many of the companies that are heralded around the country were creating a lot of work that did not include the Latinx community, the Latinx heritage, the Latinx history, the Latinx contributions that we have given to the United States. And so here I was, very much in love with a field that also erased me. Mm-hmm. And it really kind of hurt. And so I knew that if I started at my own organization, I wanted to center the communities that I knew, the ones I grew up in, and those that I really related to, right? I'm also particular because modern dance is considered an American art form. I thought to myself, of course, being an American myself, why are my narratives not being spoken about or highlighted through some of this work? And so the mission really was to provide visibility, give agency, and give exposure of Latinx diversity, intersectionality, complexity of folks living here in the United States. So everything we make, everything we produce is influenced by that. I also should point out that I grew up around this type of community, of course. I grew up in Hollywood, California. The arts industry was all around me. And very, very much the same, the Latinos are very seldom represented in the arts. And so all this has fed me and has given me reason to do the work that I do.
And so with that, we have this production coming up.
Yes.
And why don't you tell the Bay Area and beyond what this production coming up is all about?
Yes, so I'm very excited to present this new production to the Bay Area, and we're looking forward to having the community check it out and come out for it. So it's called ÓRALE. ÓRALE is a live partnership of music and dance. It features, of course, David Herrera Performance Company and our dancers, but it also features 5 other guest choreographers from around the country. So I purposely was interested in bringing guests from other regions because I wanted to make sure that other Latino voices, Latinx voices, were being heard and represented in this work.
That's huge.
Since I am about I am about promoting Latinx communities versus community, I knew that it was important to bring other voices. So we brought these 5 guest choreographers: Alfonso Cervera from Columbus, Ohio; Eric Garcia, who happens to be another local San Francisco-based choreographer and artist; Stephanie Martinez from Chicago, Illinois; Gabriel Mata, Washington, D.C., Yvonne Montoya from Tucson, Arizona, and then, of course, myself. So altogether, there's 6 of us. And then you put that on top of Elves and the Metas Mirachis. Elves, whose real name, if you will, is Robert Lopez, is the live musician, and he has been in the music industry for, I don't even know how long, 30, 40 years at this point. He's been Elves for about 35 years, and his work really resonated with me for many reasons. I should point out first the history of how I became interested in his work. When I was a student in undergrad, about 20 years ago, I happened to take a course about Latino subversive culture in the United States. And his album, Gracias Land, was one of the works that we were studying in that class. There I learned about how he uses this Elvis sound, rock and roll, but not just Elvis and rock and roll, but also popular music from the 80s and the 90s, how he takes that music and rewrites the words to describe his own experience being Chicano, being Pocho, and being American-born, and an American-born Latino. For myself, I saw the parallel with modern and contemporary dance, right? I recognize that I'm in this art form that very, very much has an American stamp to it. But, you know, being Latinx in the U.S., I had so many layers to myself. I was always feeling like I was in multiple communities all at once, and I didn't quite know how to represent that. So taking his example, I realized that I could use and work through modern dance the same way he works through rock and roll and American popular music. And so that is really when I first knew about Elvis. Now let's fast forward 20 years later. Serendipitously, one of my really great friends here in the Bay Area, who also is another choreographer, turns out was college roommates with one of his band members. And, you know, that was over 20 years ago for them as well. And so one day we went to go see Elvis live here in San Francisco. We were talking about how great it would be if I could ever create to his work. And she said, well, let's make an introduction tonight. And that happened.
Wow.
And it was that evening that I proposed to Elvis that I would be interested in creating work. Not really expecting anything, but he gave me, you know, we exchanged information, and then we touched base not too much later, and I re-proposed the idea, and luckily he said yes, much to my surprise, honestly, because, you know, he's so well known, not just in the United States, but, you know, he's toured internationally. And that set us off into this world of órale.
As they say, the rest was history.
Correct.
This is happening on what date? And say it again, órale? Is that how it's said?
Órale. Yes.
Órale.
So órale is Spanish slang. And in Spanish slang, really, that it could be used in many forms depending on context. So it could be excitement, it could be agreement, it could be joy, it could be questioning somebody. It could also be disagreement, and sometimes even a cry for violence, if you will. Through that idea, that title, I was also thinking like, oh, this relates to what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to talk about the Latinx community and how diverse we are, even though we share a lot of commonality. So the show órale is happening on September 7th, 8th, and 9th at 8 p.m. And it's happening at a venue that I hold dear to my heart. They also happen to be the co-presenter of órale, and they are found in the Mission District. So the venue is Z Space, and they are at 450 Florida Street. I wanted to work with them again on this project because they champion this kind of work. They are interested in showing culturally specific material. They're interested in showing work that is innovative, that hasn't been done before. And so the marriage between us just made a lot of sense. And luckily, they accepted as well. And once again, we are now performing in their venue.
You're listening to The Bay Area Focus, our weekly public affairs programming from iHeartRadio San Francisco. I'm your host, Tinka, and we are talking today with David. David, give your title again. You are the what?
The founder, artistic director, and choreographer.
See, that
David
was
Herrera Performance Company.
That was drop the mic and too much. I wanted you to just go ahead on and say that. So let's talk about the show itself. September 7th, 8th, and 9th, it will be going on. And what is the address again of the location?
It's C-Space at 450 Florida Street in the Mission District.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question because this is the Latinx community, the Hispanic community. Why not do this on Heritage Month?
That's actually a really good question. But I'll tell you why I didn't do it specifically on Hispanic Heritage Month or Latino Heritage Month, which is September 15th through October 15th. While I appreciate, obviously, that there is a month to celebrate my communities, I want to make it be known and kind of emphasize that we should be celebrating our communities year-round.
Man, we out there. So, we out there. Quit playing. We are out there.
Exactly. We are out there every single day doing something magical. And so we purposely stayed away from that idea. However, we are close to it. So in a way, we're ushering in the celebration. We're saying, let's start celebrating before this because there's reason to celebrate now versus waiting and putting it off till then. So that is really why it's not happening during that specific month.
It's nothing. Y'all are the pre-party.
Exactly.
You are the pre-party. Yeah, and then we're going to have the party month. And look out, because David's liable to have the after party. You know, just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. So once again, let's tell the people the website that they can find out all the information.
Yeah, so the website for our company is www.dhperformance.org. For ticket sales, you want to go to www.cspace.org.
Okay, tickets for the event, and do you know how much the tickets are?
Yeah, so tickets run $20 to $75. There's also an ASL evening that we are providing. This is on Friday, September 8th. We will have ASL interpretation. Since it is live music with lyrics, we wanted to make the work more accessible to more community members. And so for this reason, we're offering that specific evening for folks from the deaf community to come and enjoy the evening with us.
That is very special. September 7th, 8th, 9th. Get out and represent. And one more time, the website?
www.dhperformance.org. And for tickets, www.cspace.org.
There it is. This is a very special night. Come out, good music, good friends, putting on a great show. Any last words about? Let me see if I got it right. Órale. Órale? Is that how you say it?
Yes, you did. You got it right. Yes, what I hope the audience or takes away from this with this work is, first off, that it's a celebration. You're going to hear a lot of voices from different parts of the Latinx community. We have representation from different geographies, different countries, age groups. You're also going to see, obviously, a really phenomenal dance company. The performers are top-notch, and they also bring in their own ideas and thoughts, and they're very much co-creators along with the choreographers and myself as director. I also want to make sure that, or I want to point out that we hope that the audience see how rich and nuanced and complex the Latinx community really is, and that they walk away maybe knowing us a little bit deeper, knowing a little bit more about us. The performance has a lot of excitement around it. There's some very real issues within the work that we're talking about. We're talking about, immigration. We're talking about bilingualism. We're talking about feeling like we're from here and from there, We're talking about the borderland. There's so many issues within the music, and yet we're also saying, and we love everything about ourselves. So
it's a good story.
This is right, exactly. It's multiple stories all woven into one wonderfully fun, chaotic, rambunctious evening. You're going to see it in the costuming. You're going to see it in the set design. And obviously through the artist.
Come on out, be a part, September 7th, 8th, and 9th. Get your tickets. You don't want to miss Órale. There it is. David, thank you for your time. I appreciate you so much. This was great, and I hope people get out there and represent. Thank you for joining us for Bay Area Focus, our weekly public affairs program from iHeartRadio San Francisco. Today's guest was David, representing for Órale. Make sure you get on out there and represent 7th, 8th, and 9th. If you have an organization, nonprofit, or something you feel is good, can help our community, then please contact me at Tinka at iHeartmedia.com. I'll be back next Sunday with another edition of Bay Area Focus. Welcome to the Bay Area Focus, our weekly public affairs program from iHeartRadio San Francisco, highlighting issues and organizations working to improve our communities. I'm your host, Tinka, and I'll let the guests introduce themselves today and the organization and what it is that you do. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Cree Ray. I actually run the San Francisco Black Film Festival.